Hi, this is Zak Mir with US Chartbreakers here at Zak's Traders Cafe for Sunday, July the 14th. Starting off with the S&P, which is proving one of the old stock market adages that markets climb best when they're having a wall of worry, and that's what we've got at the moment. Obviously, presidential uncertainties and also the war in Ukraine, etc., and Gaza too. So to see a market in this kind of state with that backdrop is quite impressive. In terms of the technical side, here are the old resistance around 55.20. Above that, we're looking for the market to head up to 58.50 as soon as the end of next month. Downside hopefully limited to the area of the 50-day line and the floor of that rising trend channel from back in September, as high as or as low as 53.80, where that support zone will hopefully be, especially the floor of that channel. Moving on to the Nasdaq, and here it's been all about the 20,000 handle, and so far finding support at and above it. The old resistance just below 20,000 back in June, but for July so far, it looks as though the floor of that rising trend channel from April, just around 20,200, is holding, and at least while we're above the 20,000 handle, then looking for 21,600 by the end of next month at that price channel top. The only negative at the moment, or a negative, let's say, is the way that we had higher highs for July but lower RSI trace, so there's a risk of bearish divergence breaking the recent rally. If we do break down, the worst probably at the moment is expected to be no lower than 19,500 in the mid-June floor. Moving on to the stocks, and starting off with something relatively obscure, Baosheng, and here we've got progress within a falling trend channel, which has been there since September last year. We've gapped up. We've had a little meeting with the 50-day line, but looking for the shares to remain above the floor of the gap around $1.90, and above that hit the top of that channel at $3.40 by the end of next month or even sooner. Moving on to decent situation, EVGO, which has had a run of decent up days. Here we were in a broadening triangle from back in November, top of the triangle there at $5, and we're looking for that by the end of this month, while we remain above recent resistance, the old March resistance around $3.30. It's about $3.30. $5 plus could be on tap. Moving on to Instill, and here rising trend channel there from December, gap through the 50-day line there at $10.80. And basically holding above the old resistance zone around $12.50. The longer we stay above $12.50, the greater the chance of a move to $14.40 by the end of this month. One of the stocks that has risen wonderfully over the last week was Inspired Veterinary, and we looked at this during the week, and the shares were up 89% after that, which obviously makes one feel that perhaps this video doesn't get quite as many viewers as it should. Recent resistance there around $5.60, and the target now still $16 by the end of this month, which is the top of that triangle there from the start of the year. Ideally, we'd stay above Wednesday's resistance at $9.30, but that may be too much to ask. Moving on to a former big winner here, Logistic Properties over the Americas, and here obviously we had that massive move, which was actually called here as well without any ceremony. The current situation is that we're in a broadening triangle, or a triangle anyway, off the April price action. The top of the triangle there around $24.20, and that's what we're looking for while we're above resistance on the way down at the $15 level. So maybe any dips towards $15 currently regarded as a buy the dip opportunity. Lucid is next, and here situation is a broadening triangle base. We've broken above the old February resistance there, $3.90, and above that looking for up to $6.20 by the end of next month, taking the shares back to where they were late last year. Other alumni of the US Chartbreakers is here, and it's Nissan. Here we hit our target, and obviously we hit April resistance, $8.45. Above that, we're looking for a new leg up, which is derived from the resistance line projection there from back in April last year. Shares basically hit that line there, and we're looking for that to be revisited while we remain above our previous $8.45 target. On to a situation which we haven't looked at here before, which is Quillian, and here The sizzle is the extended price action and basing basically at the floor of that rising trend channel from the start of last year. Top of the channel there at $9, which we're looking for by the end of next month. The longer we stay above recent resistance and the $5 level. So quite keen on that now, given the way it's behaved. Moving on to Serena, and here a potential broadening triangle base here. We managed to just miss, well, close just below the 50-day line there at $9.11. Want to see an end of day close above that, so we can retest recent resistance through $14. Looking for that to happen perhaps as soon as the end of this month. We've also got bullish divergence going into the last week's price action, so that should obviously help the cause in terms of giving us the end of day close above the 50-day line. Next up is Toyo, and here the situation is obviously not looking great, but there are a couple of plus points. The first one is that we have had lower lows for July, but higher RSI trace, and that suggests that we've got bullish divergence, which is handy. The other point to note is that we've got a bear trap island reversal, so a gap down to new lows and then a gap up, and that can be one of the strongest signals around. In fact, it normally is. Current situation is we do want to see an end of day close back below $2.80, which was the $2.30 zone, which was resistance on the way down, and also the support zone back on Friday above the 220-230 area. Then we're looking for the shares to at least fill the gap up to $4 over the near term. Next up is a stock which is in fine form at the moment, ready to deploy the upside scenario, hopefully. Rising trend channel there for UBX, and above the floor of the channel and above the 50-day line there at $7.70. We're looking for $18 as soon as the end of next month or even sooner. The last two are next, and first is coming up, we hope, Zibao Technology. Here it looks like we've had a triangle, broadening triangle rebound, a broadening triangle base as well, and a bear trap as well. Above the 50-day line there at $3.93, looking for up to $4.90 later this month. ZAP is the closing stock, and here you can see that the shares have done us proud in terms of hitting our second target there at around $12.80. We want to see an end of day close above that, so we can get our final destination here as high as $30 by the end of next month. Obviously, at the moment, that looks rather optimistic, but we're still looking for that while we remain above recent support in the $8 to $9 area. That's it from me today. More updates during the week.